All right, we are going to start up, but rather than going through the actual stuff that's in Chapter 6, all right, I'm going to try to do this, and hopefully with John's help, all right. Has everybody been able to connect? So you've connected your machine, the tablet in there, to your machine. If it's off, or if you think it's off, and that's the button that's right here, right?
No, on the side.
Right here.
Ah, got you, right there. All right, everybody hear that? If you don't have power, there's a button on the side here. Hold it in until you see the Google thing come up.
And to log on, you have to type in Nexus in lowercase. It goes to sleep quick, so swipe up. Type in Nexus.
Now, John and I talked about this during the break. I can't directly, when I'm connected to here, it doesn't work with Camtasia. Does that make sense to everybody? There's no direct link, so I'd have to take pictures or do whatever, and I'm not going to do that. If you look on mine now, it's saying Nexus 7. All right, so I'm going to open the device to view the files. Shouldn't it have done that?
I wasn't watching what you were doing.
Oh, it came up.
Well, yours is already installed, I believe.
I thought that it was, yeah.
I gotta think here for a second. Yeah, just get everybody on the same page there. Yeah. Just wait for it to start.
If we get no further today than everybody being able to get onto the system, have the drivers loaded, and run your Hello World or whatever it is, Welcome to Android Studio app, and you get them all working on there, that'll be fine.
Nexus, lowercase. We're going through that.
If you didn't hear, if you're asked for a password, it's Nexus, all lowercase, Nexus.
Yeah. No, you can do that whole thing because everything should be under secret as far as the SDK is. Just go to the C drive ones.
So it doesn't use anything like?
You don't use any.
So if I find some other huge file, I can just figure out.
Depends on the C drive you want. Okay.
I'm asking now, has everybody been able to successfully connect? And were you asked to log in where you put in Nexus? Everyone's might look a little bit different as far as their background, but I've got messages on mine, but it should be, come on, close that junk.
So everybody's at the home.
So it should look like this.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the home screen. All right.
And then go through the button down the bottom with the 6 dots and find settings. It looks like a gear.
It's down towards the bottom right-hand corner. Gear? Not like Richard Gere.
They go to developer options.
So, again, once we got in, we went to settings, which is the ellipsis that looks like the 6 dots. Click on that. And then down towards the bottom right-hand corner, go to settings. And then what was next?
Enable USB debugging.
Enable USB debugging.
Now, after you do that, you have to go up to the top of your virtual desktop and connect the USB.
I don't have an enable USB debugging. Does that mean it's already enabled?
I don't, it's under developer options.
It's under developer options. Okay.
Yeah. Scroll down all the way there.
I did.
Right there.
Under developer options. Okay.
Okay, USB. Yeah, this is the one we already did, I think.
All right. All right. After we've done that, what are we doing next? So enable USB debugging.
Yeah, then you have to go to the top, top of your virtual and say
Oh, yeah.
enable
Okay.
USB. Oh. Then you would just have to go to your Windows device manager. And the Windows device manager.
Hey, if I can have your attention, the good news is the stuff you're doing right now, when you set up the drivers and you enable the debugging and stuff, I believe you should only have to do that once.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to have to run through this progression of steps every time. All right? Well, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come up and in here, cancel this. All right. We want to come up in here. We have to connect it to the virtual desktop. So ideally, when you're in your virtual desktop, when you come up to the top and it says connect USB device, if you click the down arrow, ideally that Google Nexus 7 is one of the things that should be showing there. If it's not, raise your hand. John will walk over and give you a hand. I can walk over and get you more confused, or John can walk over and actually explain it to you.
So do you want to have a check there?
You want it to be checked. Yeah, you want to choose that. So if you come back and look at it again, you can notice that it's checked. Now, I'm asking you, I take it they always should disconnect here before they even unplug it, but I don't think, it probably doesn't matter. But, there's all sorts of system files and stuff that get opened. So did everybody hear that? When we're all done today and you're finished, you really should go back into here then, uncheck this. It's kind of like when you pull a flash drive out. You can just pull it out and not disconnect, but you really should. We're doing the same thing here. There's a ton of firemen walking through here. That isn't scary at all.
District 9. Alright, so I'm in my device manager.
If you're to that point, just wait a second because we want to get everybody all caught up.
Browse to your SDK installation.
Now it's 2:10. We're going to go till no later than 2:40 because I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to power down. Make sure that you have a break before we start the next class. All right. Other than, John's working with Luke, everybody else is to this point. Am I correct? All right. Again, what you should be able to do next time when you come in here the next time is hook up the device, and as soon as you've hooked it up, again, you'll say Nexus to get in. Once you've gotten in your virtual desktop, then all you'll have to do is this and this. You shouldn't have to do any of the other stuff. All right, it's been enabled for debugging, so everything should be cool from now on. Did he get it?
You could try it, yeah.
Did he get it?
He's looking for his SDK on the laptop.
Okay.
We can
God bless you.
don't find it.
Well, we're still in. I'm at least still in developer options. I take it I want to go back to the main screen, right? Or
Yeah.
not yet.
You can.
All right. So what's our next step?
Now everybody's connected up at the menu. At the
Everybody's done this. I asked, and everybody said they were there.
top. Okay. Now you have to go into Device Manager on your Windows desktop.
All right. Hear that? Go into Device Manager on the Windows desktop. What is that? Is that under Control Panels
You can
or Devices?
you can get there from Control Panel.
All right. So you can do is hit the Start button and go to Control Panel, and there it is. I mean, there it is alphabetized, or it should be. So choose Device Manager. This, what we're doing now, is also something you should only have to do once. I might not even have to do it because I think mine are already, all the drivers are already installed.
Yeah, because yours is showing up there, Android device. So
Yeah.
yours is
So you probably don't have this, where if you look up on the screen, where it says Android device. All right? And if you don't, that's what you're going to get in just a second.
You said go to start first.
Click the Start button and go to Control Panel. And then under Control Panel, go to Device Manager. It should be in alphabetic order.
We're not supposed to have the Android device thing, 'cause that's what we're putting on, right?
That's correct. We're loading the drivers right now.
Only do it once.
You should only have to do this once. Correct.
So you should see Nexus 7 under Other Devices. Okay, right click on that. And do Update Driver.
All right, so again, I'm not on mine, but on yours, under here, under Other Devices, you should have Nexus 7. You said right mouse click on there, not to mine because it doesn't make sense, but then you should have Update Driver Software, and do that. It doesn't pay to go through the book because the book is trying to show you generically how to do it. The book doesn't have a section that says, if you're running on a virtual desktop, you'll want to do this. It just doesn't have that.
So you should have an Update Driver Software screen available there. Go down to Browse My Computer for Driver Software.
So when you do the update, there's a Browse My Computer for Driver Software right here. You click that.
Right. And then you want to browse to that path.
Everybody see the path I've got up there? You want to click the Browse button and go there. I'll get it so it's not in blue. I think it's easier probably to read like that. In fact, I'll put it in here twice.
Everybody at that point?
So you go here. And I'm going to take a wild guess here and say then you click the next button.
That's a good guess.
I'm not going to do that because I already have them loaded, and why take a chance on screwing anything up? Again, this is something you should only have to do once. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think everybody in this room is glad we only have to do this once. Right? This is what I'd call the most fun classroom activity. Well, it is for John, but I don't think for the rest.
Okay. And then once you click Next,
So once you click Next,
it should begin installing the driver.
all right. Now notice mine, because they're already installed, so I did click it, but mine said Windows was unable to install. All right. And the reason it did that is since I already had the driver installed here, what I have here is MTP, so I was trying to install that. I don't even know what the heck that is, and if you know, I don't care.
That's for media transfer.
There you go. Protocol? Okay. All right. But the point is, you should have had stuff there, and it should be installing now. With all of you doing that, it could take up to a minute or two.
If that other box comes up, just say install or whatever. What's it say there? Yeah, install. Good. You're good to go. You okay? Okay. Everybody there so far?
Well, I don't know if anybody's okay, but they're all being installed.
Okay, once that's done, then you just close.
Close the device manager? Just close this?
Yeah.
And-
Well, should,
Again, it should say this underneath here now. It should have Android device here now.
yeah. Does everybody say Android composite?
And I think ADB is like the Android, is that I was going to say device bridge or the debug bridge. That is mentioned in your book. So, I mean, if you do have an inkling to find out more about this stuff, you can. You can go out to developer.android.com. They have a lot of documentation on it. All right.
Once you see that, you're good to go and can run your app on your tablet now.
Now, and John's right, but I do want to mention one thing, that when you do go in and you go up to and you go into the virtual device manager, you may see something else. We don't want to run it from here now. Does that make sense to everybody? But you might get a screen that comes up and says unknown device. Remember that thing that and if it does, just click on it. That's the one you just added. It doesn't know what it is. All right, so I should be able to close this now and then do a,
You can close your virtual device.
yeah, I can close this and just do a run app. Well, I don't even have to do that. I can just click it here.
Yeah. And now when you try to run app, yeah, you should get a box that comes up.
There's the box. Everybody see this? That very well could come up on yours. All right, and notice, Asus Nexus 7, it recognizes it because of what you've loaded, and I think it's just okay, and that's it, right?
And then it should appear on here. You gotta keep an eyeball on that. Well, you got ears that won't run.
Is there a reason that this one would be, I'm just asking, you don't have to come over here. In fact, the Android needs your help, but this is like powering down, or, you know, it's going off in like 15 seconds.
Yeah, you can go in there and change, let's see. Whoops, gotta get logged in.
I don't know how it logged me out, I was logged in. There's the app.
Yeah. But
Here's the app. Wow. Nice green screen with welcome to Android Studio. Okay, you're all ready for jobs now.
you might get that.
Like, my still that thing that's the Android device manager, and then so it shows like the thing, but then I don't know what did you do after that?
If you got, well, you got it.
No, you don't have to even do that. If you have the virtual device running, you can shut it off. No, not that. That's your regular device. Just close that. Now just click the green button. That's it. Now it may come up with another box and tell you, hey, the only thing I see here that I can run it under is your Asus Nexus 7. And if it does that, click OK.
Oh, that's what you're talking, I thought you were talking
No,
about the thing.
nothing else. large text, drag it over here, put it right in the middle. I don't know. It's not there now. Oh, now it's back. There it is. Okay, so now delete this. Invalid, missing value. Well, the next thing I want to see is I want to go over to the activity main.xml file, look at it in text mode, see if it's giving you any error there, and it is.
Oh, at the bottom, see where it says design? Yeah, click on that. Oh, there you go. And then the very first paragraph at the bottom, see what it says?
I actually look and see what it says there. If there's somehow something was erased from there.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that.
Hey, I got something different.
Can we go back to Eclipse?
And then click Android.
Yeah.
No, this is more fun.
I think it will be once we get it working. I do.
I like using the Android student notes, but I don't. But we're all getting like this, that R error that I asked you about. And I tried to clean it. Some people said that would fix it. But it just didn't do anything last time we're closing it.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't clean, didn't fix it?
Now I'm trying it again.
Oh.
I did it before.
Like, I just pushed numbers in and I was like, that's weird.
If it's in red, unless it's like an integer, it's not good. Okay, tabs.
Looking for it. I don't even have an ID on mine. Here, I'll tell you what I'll do. Yeah, in fact, you can see it on the screen here. So you can see what that's what it should look like. So if you want to go back and look at yours, that's,
Okay, to delete that one.
I don't know. I have no idea how that line would have gotten there, to be honest with you.
So there are two lines.
But all you have there is relative layout, so it looks as though, and an Android ID, so it looks as though a bunch of stuff got removed. Okay, I don't know how or what. Let's do this. Let's do a file.
John?
Let's save everything, so you've got it saved. Let's do a file, close project.
I don't even know.
All right, start a new one. And we'll keep it by application, okay, just so you got it. It doesn't matter. This is fine. That's fine. We'll just leave the defaults and click finish. All right?
No.
Did yours work? Yeah, I got mine. However, now I changed my Oh, okay.
That'll go away just a second. There you go. Now that's the way it should look. That's correct. Now, if we go back to design mode here, it'll take a second for it all to fill up. Okay, you know what, let's just leave it hello world. I mean, because you know what you're doing now. And again, if you wanted to, you can go in and change the color. That's no big thing. Just click your green button right there. In fact, I always say, I think you should always do a file, save all before you do that. All right? So then just, when it comes up, in a second, just click your green button as soon as you use green.
I'm gonna get you a shirt.
And that'll build it and run it.
There you go. Well, we're all stuck in the same place anyway.
Yeah, I got that.
You got your drawing?
No, I mean, except for me, I have.
Text view style. Similar errors.
Change the text or.
Go ahead and try to click that.
The only
Now, it might come up, this will have to be on Robert running. It might come up with a box on here where it finds your device. All right?
Yeah, upgrade to. I don't know.
It's still giving you this stuff, I don't know, it said not build fail. There's something in here, you didn't do this, but there's something in here that's all goofed up. All right, so let's do this, let's do a file, let's close the project, I'm not even gonna save it, yes, okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to literally,
That means I will call you.
we're gonna just come in here right from here.
No, you don't.
We might have to do, I think it might be a problem with
Uh,
desktop, so I'm gonna do a reset.
yeah,
See if that cleans it up. It'll take about 5 minutes. we don't get it, then we'll come in, just keep this out, and we'll do it during the break or something for the next class, but we'll get it. Now, how many people did yours work, where you actually got it to show up on your device?
Everybody's getting the same bar error.
Well, not one, she's getting a different error. It's not a bar error, it's telling her she's got a button inverse problem.
Well, that's what, yeah.
And that's what you're getting?
But it's like, it highlights the R.
Oh, okay, so then the problem that you're getting is the same one that they're getting.
Oh,
But that's what it says.
I'm not the only one?
No.
Just go back to the original list. Well, then the good news is if John can come up with a fix for one person, he'll probably fix everybody's. So,
Is everybody getting that? Everybody's getting that standard.
Juan's got the same, getting the same. Well, a couple people worked. Robert said his worked. Did somebody else work? Mitch, did yours work? Nope. Nope? Okay. All right.
Pass over.
Holly's worked too.
John's fired.
No, I'd be fired before you would be.
No.
The job open.
I just really wanted his job. Really got him.
Fire up the right.
Oh, look at this, I have another message.
Oh, what it's saying is, we tried to get in a virtual desktop and it's still rebooting. That's all.
Oh.
So you, like I said, you might have to wait 5 more minutes or so.
No.
I like to when.
One thing is, in all seriousness, you wouldn't believe how much slicker, even with these problems, this was than last year. Last year we couldn't even get anybody into the onto Eclipse. We had so many problems. Yeah. But that, are you saying, but that shouldn't be the error that you're getting? Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, so we have basically, just so you know, we've gone through this information that's in Chapter 6. All right, whether you think so or not. And again, if you want more, you can read that. Chapter 7 talks about the basics of the editor. So again, you've seen this stuff already. So if you do want to go through where they have you the tabs and everything else, I don't think it's really that imperative that I read to you. So I think you can all take a look at this stuff and peruse your way through it. All right? Just out of curiosity too, has anybody taken that error and keyed it into Google?
I assume that's what they're doing. So.
Is that what you did, John?
Pardon?
Did you key that error into Google? The one that they were all getting? I would.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. So in Chapter 7, there's code completion. Everybody see this? You all know how that works. You can hit tab if you want to grab what they're showing, etc.
Mike's is running.
Good. There's statement completion. So in other words, when you start to type something in, if it knows that it's a method like this, you saw this last semester where it'll go and add, it will add for you curly braces, or at least a right curly brace type of thing. All right? It tries to show you parameters. I don't know about you, I hate that feature. I like most of the other stuff, but I hate that because like when you try to do a message dialog in Eclipse, it puts arg0 in there. I never want an arg0 in there. And then when I try to change it, it goes and adds parens or does whatever, and I hate that. You know what code folding is already. All they're saying is if you click the minus sign, you can expand and contract code. The quick document lookup, everybody see this? You can try this even if your stuff isn't working. You can go back to your code, you can highlight something and do a control Q. All right, and it'll display a pop-up with relevant information. Remember, I hated that all the time with Eclipse. When you just rested on something, it would pop up. This is designed to only pop up when you want it to pop up. If you notice this, in general, the Android Studio will automatically format your code in terms of indenting, etc. But it says sometimes it still can get out of whack. So if you want to reformat it, you can press Control-Alt-L. And that will display the reformat code. You don't ever have to do that.
Is that like a beautify, like kind of?
It's similar to a beautify, yeah. And I'll tell you what, if you can all look up here for a second, because this will be it for today. Regardless, it is 2:31. I will be done in no more than 9 minutes. All right? Chapter 8, which is the last chapter I really wanted to go through today anyway, talks about the Android architecture. All right? And you're going to see some pictures and a few other things in the chapter. And I've added a few more too. So they talk first, this, in a nutshell, this is what's going on under the hood. All right? And the farther down you tunnel, the closer you're getting to the machine or the operating system itself. The higher up you're going, the more you're getting towards the human being who's running the program. All right? So you can see that on the bottom, scares the hell out of people. What, I'm running something that's Linux? Yes, you are. It's even worse than that. Because a lot of their library files, all right, what they are, they're wrappers, and they're calling C and C++ libraries. All right, so there's a hell of a lot of stuff going on underneath the hood here. So if you want more on this, it's a little bit of it is explained in the book. Then you go up. Notice they call it ART, the Android Runtime. That's replacing the Java virtual machine. Okay? And you may or may not have noticed this last semester, but when we went in and we ran Java files, we would end up getting an APK file. Now you don't. Now you get a DAK file. It's called a DAK file. And the D in there is actually for some town that's in like Norway. Somebody named it after that. All right? And you have to care, no, but if the stuff looks a little different, it's not that anything is wrong. It's just that the stuff that's happening under the hood here is different between running regular Java, all right, and running an Android app. And again, as you go up a little further, so the chances are you may actually make a call into here, which calls here, all right? You may actually make some kind of a call down to here. You're never going to make any calls down here, not on that level, all right? And then when you go up here, you can see the other stuff that's up here. All of this stuff is explained in the book. I'm not a hardware guy. I find it amazing that I took two classes on operating systems and got A's in both. I just find that incredible. All right, and probably I've retained none of it. But when they talk about this stuff that's up here, native Android apps, that's the built-in stuff. Third-party Android apps, but that's technically not yours. That's stuff that you could add onto the machine. You know, you download an app onto this machine, type of an idea, but you're in there also. So what they do in this chapter is they explain each one of these components. They talk about the kernel. They talk about the Android runtime. It's DEX, not DAX, I'm sorry. But the D in there, like I said, is for some goofy town. And notice what it does. It does stuff differently. All right? It says what it does is it translates the bytecode down to the native instructions, and it uses something that's called ELF, execute in linkable format. All right? You probably don't even know this, but back in the days when we were doing C#, something similar was happening. But in C#, it uses something called the CLR, the Common Language Runtime. And when it does that, instead of breaking it down into a file like this, a bytecode file, it broke it down into what was called an MSIL file, a Microsoft Intermediate Language file. But the same thing was happening. This is the progression of the code from the way you're keying it in source code down to the machine language level where the machine can actually execute it. All right, so they talk about some of the libraries. You're going to end up using a lot of this stuff this semester. I've already mentioned, as it says, that when you've got to go down, the lower down you have to go, the better the chance in any kind of software. If you're using libraries, the lower down, the closer to the operating system you go, the better the chance is you're going to be using C and C++ libraries. So here's the stuff that's in the, they show you the framework, and here's the stuff that's in here. All right? So when we pick it up next time on Tuesday, all right, I might quickly go through this chapter here, the anatomy of an Android app, but we're going to write one. We're going to all do it. I will consider it to be a success if by the end of the period, everyone has this, and if nothing else, all right, if we still continue to have this problem and can't figure out what it is, then we have to use the emulator until we do come up with a solution, except for those people where theirs worked. They probably did absolutely nothing differently. I should have asked first what your error was, Ben, because I had Thwan create a brand new project just so she could get the same error. All right? And I think she thought it was her. I said, no, you're not doing anything wrong.
I think I found how to fix it though.
What was it?
Like if you do Google the error, like you put that in, Stack Overflow has it, and there's one where you basically, like the package that we have isn't matching what we're trying to run. So like we have to update, I think we have to update our packages.
Did you hear that? Ben said that he did Google the error, and it sounds like one of the packages, so probably something in the SDK is out of whack.
Well, Mike's is running, and he's on API 23, so I think if everybody upgrades, hopefully.
That's what it was.
And do you all know how to do that? Because again, it's a little different in here. So you again go to Tools, and you go to Android, but now you go down to Sdk Manager, right here. And this should look it'll come up, but this should look very similar. What's that?
Down there at the bottom, it says launch. Yeah, that'll look like the one in Eclipse.
Okay. When this stuff starts coming up, can I just say this to you if you'd all look up here for just a second? If you're going to keep doing this and installing the latest and the greatest, my recommendation, I don't know if you agree with this or not, don't walk up here and just click everything there is. Don't do that. Because you're loading a lot of stuff that's duplicative, and you're loading old stuff. And what did you say? The stuff we should use is ARM and not the, you want to make sure you're not loading stuff you shouldn't be loading. So I think in here we want to go, do we want the newest?
Well, you got 24.1, or.
Yeah, I've got it installed, so that is the
do
newest.
the platform tools.
Okay, that one is already, there's an update available, it's already checked.
Do the build tool, right below that.
And again, grab the newest one. Do I want the SDK build tools? Right here?
No, well, that's what you got up there.
Oh, you're right, okay. All right.
Skip the preview channel. Everything else there looks good.
The documentation?
I skipped that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to really matter.
That bottom one there, sources for Android SDK.
On the bottom.
Right above 5.1.1.
All right, I'm sure. Oh, right here.
Yes.
This?
Yep.
That says it's installed already. So.
Oh, okay. And then scroll down. There, keep going down to extras there. Let's see, support.
And you notice I only checked 1 or 2, but I've got 11 installs and 10 deletes. The system is trying to do some management for me. All right?
So I would install those 11 then. Because Zane and Amber, when we did theirs, there were 13 installs. And then Mike's ran, and so that's where he's at. He's on
Okay.
API 23.
And again, this is something, I'm not saying that every class period, but maybe once in a while you want to go out and check this to see what's out there, especially if you start to run your programs and stuff's not working. We're going to want to look in here to see if there's some kind of an update available.
Because both Holly and Mike are on API 23 and theirs ran. So.
please make sure that, you know, within the next 20 minutes, you get out of here for a couple minutes, walk around, get something to eat or drink, whatever, but just walk out of here. Clear your head a little bit.
Work? Yep. That got Zane running too.
Upgrading all the SDKs.
Have you seen that?
I'd say yes. I guess.
It's trying it again, it's failing it again.
Yeah, it's just the same error every time. Yeah, I don't know why that's.
That's at the end, though. I mean,
Trying to do, yeah, close that. You're trying to install Atom image there.
oh, here?
Yep, get rid of that. See if there's any other Intel Atom.
All righty. Well, and that was something that was already checked for me.
Oh, yeah, check that one.
Wow, almost all these installs have been for that.
So, hopefully that'll do.
Yeah.
You know, I went and reinstalled it, so this way I can see exactly where it was putting everything, so yeah, I haven't done it yet, I'm just looking back up there. You know,
And start clicking buttons.
That's good.
Yeah.
What'd you do? I click buttons. Okay.
Something's happening. So we'll see.
back in the day.
If this doesn't work, then you'll have to jump to because it was like in the middle.
I knew this wasn't gonna be pretty.
Something in here must have updated before all the,
Well, that's it.
and then
These are the very latest.
No, not saying I think that when you did it, it was probably the same, and then this updated or something to add the.
Well, these are updated to 6.0.1. And here we are doing 20, API 23. So that could be part of it. That, once you bring this up to the same level as that, that should work, I'm thinking. Because see, yesterday when I was Tuesday when I was fixing Holly's and Mike's, I upgraded them to the latest and greatest.
Oh, okay.
So there's both work.
We're going to pick it up again on